Another day, another deep dive. Hey guys, did you know that K-9 survived their time war? Yeah, no messing around with an introduction this time, I'm just jumping right in today. Despite being destroyed completely, K-9 Mark II is also documented as surviving the goddamn time war. I mean, he must have, because how else could he have gone on to star in a successful 2009 Australian spin-off K-9? Oh boy, this really is a deep dive. For the uninitiated, the BBC do not own the primary rights to arguably the most beloved character, the robot dog. No, this was Bob Baker's third attempt at giving K-9, who was embarrassing even in the 70s, something he should never have: main character status. So it's just a disconnected IP crossing the ocean. What's the big deal? Well, that's the thing. It's not. The timeline from one niche series to another niche series completely tracks. K-9 appears in his original design in episode 1, and after a great battle, cannot remember Romana or the Doctor. Like Clara, but more emotional. Somehow, this little shit, little Time Lord super agent he used to be, completely held his own in the Time War. Here is a picture of K-9 frying a Dalek, which is certain to make someone disproportionately mad. I don't know what else to expect from a story called Doctor Who and the Dogs of Doom. Great title. So K-9's quite a resilient boy, surviving the Dalek Empire, multiple Gallifreys, and the utter bastardization of time itself. Even though this is the very same model who seemed to be broken every other week, defeated by explosions, drained of batteries, stunted by chip fat and Brighton Beach. I hate this fucking show. The Big Finish Gallifrey series, on the other hand, depicts K-9's noble sacrifice and hilarious death, with Romana vowing to never build another. I do not blame her, but it doesn't help this joke of a timeline. So K-9 goes from this series to this series sometimes, because sometimes he survives and sometimes he dies. This gets even harder to track when you discover there are not only 9 or so different K-9s around the place, but there are also 2 Mark IIs. Which is precisely the moment I realised that nobody in the world is keeping track except maybe John Leeson. Which one learned primary school science with 7 and Ace? Why did 10 have his own one after Rose left? Oh yeah, that's a thing. K-9 joined the TARDIS team while Rose Tyler was still on board, but would spend most of its time within the TARDIS, rarely mentioned or seen. K-9 only began to actively join adventures after the Doctor adopted a cat, whom he named after Rose. The two did not get along. Damn, this well was a lot deeper than I originally thought. The lesson I'm taking away from this is that if you're a robot dog in the series Doctor Who, the only way is down. You'll either be destroyed horribly, shoved in a cupboard, or forced to star in your own 26 episode spin-off. That's a lot of episodes. The unlucky few who have seen this show say that this K-9 is more aggressive and upbeat. The wiki describes him as emotive and ruthless, killing an alien. Wow. Who knew that the K-9 spin-off tackled the PTSD and fallout from the last great time war? Powerful stuff. Oh no, the War K-9 is going to be Big Finish's next box set! And it would still be better than K-9 and Company. My Doctor Who experience hasn't become desperate enough that I need to watch any of the K-9 spin-offs, and I intend to keep it that way. But deep down, I know I will have to eventually, and I fear that day. Shockingly, the K-9 series never got renewed for a second season, so he did what all desperate IPs do and jumped to comics, pulling a Poochie and suddenly feeling the need to go to space. Even the Time War could not stop K-9.
How did you survive the Time War?
They survived through me, Master.
This fact, as boggling as it is also testament to the truth of there being no one true canon. For even if you do accept canon as a literary concept, the BBC can't claim authority on canon because it's not their call to make. Never mind creatively, aesthetically, or metaphorically, no single entity, no establishment owns all of Doctor Who. Oh, my throat. Anyway, number 2. Poor Dodo. Poor Dodo Chaplet, kidnapped by an old man on account of resembling his granddaughter, thrust into some average to bad adventures, and then wanders off after 4 stories, most of which are missing. This is perhaps the most unpopular, unfair treatment of a companion from 50 plus years of TV. And that's if you can even remember her. A strange, somewhat dazed young woman that never seems to react to space and time travel. She's an odd but harmless product of the 60s, who then is made the victim of some of the most deranged and dark stuff in the Doctor Who universe. Ladies and gentlemen, take a trip with me to the Virgin New Adventures. Who Killed Kennedy is an infamous Third Doctor adventure from 1996, a book that specifically goes through the effort to reintroduce Dodo, of all people, now pregnant, only to have her murdered horribly by the Master. Writer James Stephens either has some serious stuff to work on or really hated this companion, as he makes her a confused amnesiac, subjects her to imprisonment in an insane asylum, shock therapy, and a rape attempt. I kid you not. In which she killed her attacker in self-defense. Dodo Chaplet, from beloved 60s family show Doctor Who. What was going on in the 90s, man? But as if that wasn't enough, Dodo also contracts a sexually transmitted virus in The Man in the Velvet Mask. This same novel reveals that her parents are dead, her carer hates her, and she was too unintelligent for school and was too busy kissing boys. Jesus Christ. Hey Doctor Who, this isn't fun. New Who, on the other hand, is thankfully kinder, where even this tiny bit player with a handful of episodes has a funeral home named after her, and gets a couple mentions in the novel The Last Dodo. Doctor Who in the 90s and early 2000s needs therapy. And last off, let's end it on a happy one, please. Something simple. The Girl Who Loved Doctor Who was a short comic story by IDW for the 50th anniversary. It's a lovely little nod to Doctor Who fandom by being the least subtle piece of media in the show's history. In this, a strange force flings the 11th Doctor and a lone Cyberman into our world, where Who is a TV show and his life is fiction. Not dwelling on the existential Will Ferrell nightmare of this, he instead attends Comic-Con with a young fan called Ali. It's surprisingly sincere and handled in the way the 11th Doctor really would react to this situation. I have no problem accepting it as canon, because canon is amorphous. All that matters is that I believe this is the same character, and I am completely immersed in that. It should be seriously wonky, but the focus on the Doctor being troubled by the idea of him being a role model keeps it rooted. Quite a loving portrayal of Doctor Who fandom in 2013, but damn, imagine if the same story was attempted in 2018 onwards. Ugh, makes my skin crawl. What a crazy coincidence that this version of the Doctor fell into our 2013. Matt Smith is hardly the Doctor character I want to meet the most, but fair dues here. It's the last story that they ever did with the license, and it was written by Paul Cornell. If this character has ever meant anything to you as a kid, dig this one up. And there we have 3 more facts from the weird world of Doctor Who. I've learned more about that fucking tin dog than I ever needed to.